Hey, 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 it's Tia, baby. And I am back with another video. So, this is a part 2 of the Abraham versus Selena relationship video. And I am grateful for the views that I've gotten and the comments that I've gotten. Some were good, some were bad, but hey, that's a part of being a YouTuber growing slowly but surely, and I'm grateful for it. So I know that my last comment about the first part was when when Abraham confronted Chris about if about their conversation in reference to Chris' relationship with Selena, and he as in Abraham, stated to Chris that if you tell Selena about this conversation, I will deny it and she will believe me. And I stated that sounds like some psycho mess, because it does. It sounds like who says stuff like that? Like, especially from a parent. Who says stuff like I like I said in the first video, I only hear like psychopaths or possessive individuals say stuff like that. And that just reminds me of, people that has that type of mentality. So, of course, they continue to see each other. Even though he said what he said to Chris and Selena and how he felt about their relationship, they still, saw each other on the low. And one day, Chris was in Corpus. He was in a hotel. I think he was either in Corpus or San Antonio. He was at a hotel. He was already disbanded from the group because of course Abraham was found out they were still seeing each other, and he was upset. Oh, he was upset about it. So, he fired him from the group from, I think, when they had that issue on the bus. It was somewhat captured in the movie, but that was more of the censored part in the movie. The real deal, it was much more intense. So he disbanded him from the group, but they were still seeing each other on the low. Even though he was disbanded from the group, he didn't stop working. Chris didn't stop working. He was working with his friend he was playing music with before he was with the Selena y los Dinos. He went back to playing with him. I think his friend name was Rudy. He went back to doing, music with them. So one day he was asleep in the hotel, and like I said, this is in his book, Selena with Love, and he heard like a pounding noise on the door, but Chris thought it was like housekeeping, because it was his last day at the hotel, but it was still too kind of early for checkout. So he kept hearing like banging on the door, and he was like thinking that it was the the cleanup people. He was like, come back, it's not checkout yet. But the pounding noise kept coming harder and harder, and he was like, can you come back? Like, don't you see the sign on the door? And so the noise kept getting louder and louder. So he, got dressed, and he looked in the pee hole, and he saw it was Selena, and he opened the door, and he said that she was like bawling. Bawling means she was really crying, like to the point where you couldn't even understand what she was saying. She was crying. So obviously her father must have said something to her or did something to her for her to feel that emotional. And she was just basically telling him, like, I can't do this anymore. Like, I want to be, like, she was like yearning to be with him, be with Chris. And she just couldn't understand the life of her, why he would not, why he's so against it. And like I said, this is why I don't like Abraham. Well, this is one of the reasons why I don't like him. Like, if a parent says that they love you. Now, I know some parents are hard, and I know some fathers are hard on their children, but this is to another level. When you got your child crying, like hysterically and crying, like to the point where all the life is sucked out of them, obviously your level of strictness, your level of protection is going too far. Because I've never heard of a parent this hard on a child. She's not a child, but his child, like that. Like, he act like she was on drugs, or he act like she was in an abusive relationship. Like, that all they wanted to do was just be with each other. All they wanted to do was just share their love with each other. What was so hard for that? And you go to the he go Abraham goes to the extent by tracking them down and acting psycho and and forbidding her to see him, like she's some type of peasant, or like he's some type of peasant. And it's just like, is it really that serious? No. And haven't you heard, the more you say, parents just don't understand. The more you say no, no, no to a child, or to a grown child, small child, whatever, they're going to they're going to rebel anyway. So you saying no, no, no is not doing anything but making them want to do it more. I mean, that has not changed. It's still going on to this day. So, she was like, he was telling her to calm down, tell me what's going on. And so Chris was telling her to calm down, tell me what's going on. She, told him how she was tired of her father, like, treating him this way, treating their relationship like it was nothing. She just got tired of him not wanting them to be together. And she had it. And so she thought that, at the time, she felt like marriage was the answer. And it may have been. And now that I'm thinking about it, that was actually brilliant, to be honest. Because at first I was questioning it. Like, well, did you really want to marry him? You only, like, I mean, because I value marriage. I'm not married yet, but I value marriage and the sanctity of marriage. And I was like questioning it at first. I was like, so did she only want to marry him just to be with him, just to say, just so they can have a substantial relationship, or did she really marry him for love? But as I kept reading his book over and over again, yes, she did marry him for love, but she also married him to get Abraham to back the fuck off. Like, this was beyond just sneaking around and doing whatever they want to do, regardless of what he says, regardless of what Abraham says. This is like law. Like, this is law. Once a man and a woman is married, the father has no say so in nothing, in their marriage, in her life, or whatever. It's all on the husband. So she knew what she was doing when she said, let's get married. Of course she wanted to get married to him, but of course she may have wanted to wait it. If in a perfect world, she would wanted to wait a little longer so they can have a wedding, and the wedding of their dreams. And that's what he was like preaching to her. Like, are you sure? Like, because I thought you wanted a wedding. I thought you wanted all your family and friends to be involved. Yes, she did. But because her father was psycho, he that she was like basically like we just have to do it now, because she was protecting their relationship by marrying him, because she felt like, in my opinion, it seems as though if they continue to just see each other, that the stress of that Abraham was putting on them, they wouldn't last. They wouldn't last. They were like, no, it's just not worth it. I love you, but it's just not worth it. So she felt like marrying him, even though she wants to marry him, but because she made the decision to do it sooner than later, was to protect the relationship. She wanted to be with him so bad that she had to, marry him to keep the relationship solid, to keep it legit, to keep it together, to throw away. And and miraculously, when he agreed, he said the stress, he saw the stress leave her body, like it was just like a relief. So they went and to Nucus, I think Nueces County in Texas, and they went to the courthouse and they got married at the Justice of the Peace. And she did say to him that, of course, when they renew their vows, I think after 3 years or whatever, that they will, have the wedding of their dreams. But of course, it never happened because she passed away a few days before their fourth or third year anniversary. I think they're before their third year anniversary. So it never happened. But he said that she had the dress, she had some of the things that to prepare the wedding, like she had their names engraved in their wedding book, and she was like picking stuff out for their wedding. But unfortunately it didn't happen because obviously she ain't here for it to happen. But yeah, it was just like, ugh, it's just thinking about it, just talking about it, it just irritates the hell out of me, because I want to know, does he, when he's home at night, does he sit and think about the things he's done to her emotionally and mentally, drained her? Like, does he sit at home and really think about, or sit in his little office and think about, man, I should have handled things a little differently, or I shouldn't have been so tough on her? Like, I want to know, does he really feel sorry for himself? Does he really feel sorry or apologetic for doing the things that he's did to cause her, for her demise, cause her to have stress and emotional and mental anxieties and stuff like that? I want to know, does he really sit back and think about that? Probably not, but I hope he is, because he did a lot. He did a lot of damage. And I'm not only blaming him. There were others that, were involved in that, but he was like the ringmaster. And so long, years down the road after they married and had their house. And this is what is creepy to me. Why does he, okay, so they lived in a house next door to her parents. And then on the other side was AB and his family. I mean, if that's what she wants, fine by me. But I don't think that's what she wanted at first, because I think in the book, she didn't want to move near her parents. She did not want to live in that house that they shared a marriage with. I think she wanted her own house. But her father insisted that they live next door, just as a starter, I guess, as a starter home. And they make it up and, keep the family together and stuff. But that's not what Selena wanted. And that's not what Chris wanted. But they needed I guess they wanted to save money, and they needed to save money for their dream home or for their forever home. But right now they settled for the house next door. But they really didn't want to. And I really wish that they would have just put their foot down and be like, thanks, but no thanks. We want our own home. We want to start our own home, somewhere else. maybe in Corpus, but just, somewhere else where we have our own privacy. Because I just felt like that was kind of weird to have to be living next door to each other. Like, y'all might as well just have bought a whole big ass house and just live together in one house. I mean, all that, save money. But I just thought it was odd to be living next door to your parents, because it's like you're husband and wife. What if you want some alone time? What if you want to keep, what if you want to have, I'm sure they was having sex. But I mean, I would feel weird if it was me. I would feel weird, trying to be intimate with my husband and knowing that my parents live next door. And then I read that the man kept coming over there all the time uninvited. He kept coming over their house, and that's why he did that. He did that to trap them. He did that so he can keep an eye on. He probably was perverted and was probably had a telescope in his house, looking in their window, looking out the window, looking and see what they doing. I would not be shocked if that was true, because it seemed like that's what he would do. That's probably why he wanted them next door so close to him, so he can keep an eye on them, because he's psycho. Like I said, that's some possessive stuff. Like, why would you insisted on purchasing a house for them next to your house? They're newlyweds. They're going to want to be together, want to be intimate, want to be alone. And it's going to make them uncomfortable with knowing that you're right there breathing on their backs. And like I said, he was coming over there unannounced all the time, causing issues. Like, one, for example, in the book, they were cleaning out, I think they were cleaning out their records or whatever, or their CD collection. And she, saw, it was like a album that Chris had. It was like a Kiss album, and she didn't like the cover of it. She thought it was demonic, or thought it was too wicked, as she would say. And she wanted him to throw out the cover. And when I first read that book, I was like, that's crazy. I'm just going to be honest. I did. When I first read that, it creeped me out. I was like, are you serious, Selena? Like, you really, like, kirking off over a CD cover? And you, like, telling him to throw it out? But then, as I read on, it really wasn't the CD cover. It was the stress level that her father was giving her. Because she immediately, like, started breaking down crying. She was standing up, I think whatever she was doing, standing up, and then she, like, slid on the wall to the ground and was just, like, bawling. And he was like he said she was shaking. She was just crying. She couldn't breathe. Like, she was like crying so hard that she couldn't get any words out. And he, telling her to calm down, tell me what's going on. And she, like, told him how her father, is stressing her out again. Like, he's giving her the third degree. I don't remember exactly what it was. I think it had something to do with, because she wanted to start a boutique, and he was against it and stuff like that. I don't know. I think that's what it was. Either way, he was just being psycho dad. And it was taking a toll on her. And that was the real reason she was upset. It really wasn't the CD cover. That was just something to kind of like put a Band-Aid on. That was like the surface of it. It was mainly because her father was being psycho. And like I said, this is examples of why this is an example of an emotional abuser. I'm gonna put it out there. Abraham Quintanilla was an emotional abuser and he was mentally abusive to her. He knew how fragile she was, and how, she's very pleasing to everyone, and he know that she was naive, and that nobody can do no wrong in her eyes, and it was like a easy target. So that's why he was easy to control her. And it was like he was like just breaking her down every chance he get. And it's like, you causing her physical pain. She's crying, she's shaking, she can't talk because of the emotion that you bring on her. Like, no woman should have to go through that, especially from her father, the person that brought you in this world. Like, that's, well, the one half of the person that brought you in this world. Your father's supposed to be your protector, and he was not protecting her at all. He was working her to death. He literally, and he was just like very emotional and mentally abusive to her. And Chris was like, enough. Like, he had enough. But like I said in the first video, I believe, I just wish he would have had more willpower and more firmness with Abraham, and cut it short with him sooner than later. Because, I mean, I know Chris was more laid back and more, an introvert, and he was trying to respect her family because of the love he had for her. But right is right. Wrong is wrong. If you know that this man was treating her wrong, then you need to let his ass know. Like, he should have been like, look, even though he did, but he should have did it sooner, and he should have did it with more aggression. Like, got in his face and everything. Like, look, Abraham, all due respect, I respect you as a human being and as her father, but what you're not going to do is disrespect my wife. I look at what you're doing. You're doing more harm to her than helping her. She's constantly crying. She's shaking. She barely can talk. When you bring her down like this, you're bringing her down more than you lifting her up. And I'm getting very tired of this. Like, if it wasn't for the love that I had for her, I would have been punched you in your face a long time ago, because you are now being abusive to her. You are being emotionally abusive, and you're being mentally abusive. And you need to be put in your place. Like, I would have went off if I was him, and he should have did that. He should have just went crazy. How Abraham was so crazy. How Abraham did not care to be crazy on him. He should have not cared to be crazy on Abraham. He should have went a ship on him. Ape shit on him. Like, went ham on him. And like I said, it's crazy. And like, when she did, proposed her boutique to her family, only two people in her family was supportive of her decision, which was her husband and her mother. Those were the only two individuals that supported her. Maybe her cousin Sarah, but those were the only ones that I know about that supported her. Her father, of course, gave her the third, fourth, fifth degree and was like, no, that's going to take away of your music. No, that's just something you want to do. You want her to just focus on music because you want them coins. You want her to make those coins for you. And like I said, that to me is, you're not really there for her. You're just there for yourself. Because if this is what she wants to do, if she feel like, yes, it kind of would, give more work. It would be a heavy load. But if she knows she can do it, let her do it. Let her do it. If it fails, it fails. Long as she, do it. Like Aaliyah said, your first you don't succeed, dust yourself off and try again. She just will dust herself off and try again. But she didn't even have to, because it became successful. She ended up having a location in Corpus, in San Antonio, and then she was planning on having one in Mexico, Monterrey, Mexico. And then even probably expand to like malls. That was her biggest goal, was to start getting her clothing, in malls, department stores. Probably like Saks or Nordstrom or Neiman Marcus, Macy's, stuff like that. Or what they had, I think they had Billards. I don't know if they had, I don't know if they had the same stores that I know of, but yeah, stuff like that. That was what her dream was. And the only two people that really supported her in her family was her mother and her husband. Her husband even helped construct her store, I think in San Antonio. Like, he knew how to put like stuff together by working with his dad. So he helped like construct some of the like fixtures in there, like the glass. It was like glass on the wall, like it looked like brick or whatever, but it was glass. He did that. He helped install that. Of course, contractors did the most of the stuff, but he was like helping them. That's what you call a good ass man, a good support system. He was her lifeline, basically. He was her lifeline. because her father kept stabbing her in the back, punching at her. Like he was like with her, with his aggression, with his emotional abuse, with his mental abuse. It was like beating and punching back. That's what he was doing her, beating her down. But Chris was her lifeline. Chris and her mother was her lifeline. They were the ones, the angelic ones that lift her back up from being punched and beat down by that beast. They were lifting her up, and she was slowly getting back to herself again. They were the ones to help her, you know, defeat the beast. And yeah, so throughout their marriage, it was, they had a great marriage and all of that. But of course, the beast, kept interfering. And it was another one where they was all at a dinner, and a fan came and interrupted their dinner and was like, sign this. Like, the fan was rude. It was like, sign this. And Selena put them in their place. She was like, that's not how you ask to sign something. That's not how you ask. And I'm eating with my family, but when I'm finished, I can sign it for you. And so the fan got upset, got an attitude, and walked off, or whatever. But Selena did the right thing. You don't just let somebody like bum rush you and think, oh, you gotta sign some. No, she don't have to sign everything, and it's a time and place for that. Like, she was known to sign everybody's autograph, but it's not what you do, it's how you do it. Like, that fan was very rude. But of course, Abraham was the one to be on the fan side. I'm like, why would you do that? That was a fan. Why would you dismiss the fan like that? And she was like, the fan was rude. I had to let him or whoever, it was a female or male, I had to let them know that, hey, that's not cool. I'm willing to sign it for you, but after I'm finished eating. And you need to approach me nicer. Like, it was just like, did you not, like, I'm like, at Abraham, like, did you not see how the fan was very aggressive and very rude, and you just gonna side with the fan? Are you serious? Get your life. Like, this is what I'm saying. Like, he is crazy. He don't care. To me, he doesn't care about Selena. He just care about them coins. He just care about public image. He don't care about that. He didn't care about his daughter at all. He brought her down more than he lifted her up. Now, the only thing I can say is he brought her stardom, and she grew to love it. But in the middle of it, all he did was beat her down. Not physically, but mentally and emotionally. And those two individuals, her mother and her husband, brought her back to life at each time. But I wish I wish they would have saved her when, at that moment, March 31st, 1995. I will talk more about that part on my third part video. This video may or may not be, as exciting as the other ones, but I just wanted to give you a brief, description of how the beast was to Selena. And who I mean the beast, I meant Abraham Quintanilla. So look out for part 3 and soon. And like I said before, I will be, making videos about the Selena series when it comes out. And I bet that they going to probably bring that series. If it's not out yet, I haven't seen it. But I bet that they're going to bring that series out either on the anniversary of her death or her birthday. Around March or April. I bet. But be on the lookout for that. And like I said, be on the lookout for part 3. And I will get back with you with another video. Peace.